Apex Online Racing is sponsored by Elgato, who created this lovely Stream Deck. For more information about the Stream Deck, the link is in the description below.
As the sun sets on another season of Apex Online Racing, we are here at the Yas Marina Circuit for round 21, the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. And after a season which has been dominated by one driver, Yas Marina, the last 3 races have had 3 different race winners. A 4th to end this particular campaign would do very nicely. And this circuit was the most expensive circuit ever built. $1 billion it cost to put this track together, and although the viewpoints on the sport in real life are quite polarizing as to the quality of this particular track, there is no denying that on the games at least it has produced some spectacular races over the years. And in terms of this particular circuit, let's take a quick look at this Abu Dhabi circuit on Yas Island, specially built, 5.5 kilometers, 21 corners, and it's between turns 7 and 11 where we will get the majority of the overtaking action. 2 very wide and long DRS zones, and we see 2, maybe even 3 wide action going down there before the very technical sector 3, which is quite important in particular for qualifying, as it's quite difficult to regain your time there. And for one last time this season, it is your usual 18-minute qualifying session, followed by 28 laps at a race distance of approximately 153 kilometers. 59% of the lap is taken at full throttle. And in terms of the tyre choices, tyre wear not particularly an issue here, but tyre temperatures certainly have been at this track in the past, and the mediums are 0.7 seconds slower than the softer, and the hard tyre not particularly one you want to be going for, as they are very slow in race trim, so we could get a 2-stop race here today. And one last time, we will have a look at the championship standings of AOR F1. Yas Marina makes his return to the grid today, having sealed the championship back in Singapore round 15. Speed Bari, an outstanding campaign, but Casper has a chance to leapfrog ahead of him for the runner-up spot. Roy in 4th, Sven Noller in 5th, Tactician in 6th. Danny MG's brilliant win at Brazil last week, lifting him up to 7th in the standings. And Blizzard, the only driver who has driven in every single race this season, in a very solid 9th, with Nardi Perez returning to the top 10 after his brilliant podium at Brazil last week. And in terms of the Constructors' Championship, of course, Mercedes sealed it at the US Grand Prix, but Alfa Romeo have cut the gap to less than 100 points thanks to their recent results. Now 83 points behind. Toro Rosso in 3rd position, although they are under threat from the Williams team. Red Bull in 5th. Renault up to 6th, with McLaren having been in 5th for most of the season and slipping down to 7th. And then there's the freeway fight to avoid the wooden spoon between Racing Point, Haas and Ferrari. And with that underway for one last time this season, it is my good friend and commentary partner Andy Campbell joining me, Mark Alimonda, in the commentary box. Well, it's been a very interesting season, has season 18, but we are here at Yas Marina for one last race in anger.
Yeah, absolutely. Good evening, everybody. Welcome along to round 21 of season 18. We've made it to the end, and it is one final time around under the twilight here in the desert at the Yas Marina Circuit. I've managed to drag myself away from Ferrari World, just offside to the track, to come and give you the action alongside Mark, who obviously, as you might have seen, is commentating on his final race for Apex Online Racing as a full-time commentator tonight. So hopefully the drivers will be able to give us a good race out here tonight to send them off in style.
Yes, I think as we have the early parts of qualifying soon, and I'll just say a few words about that. I mean, I started commentating back in 2016, so although I'm not retiring from commentary as such, I no longer have the time to do it full time, as Tyrrell Snitzel puts a decent time on the board of his first bank, lap 133.053. But yeah, I've had a really wild ride. In terms of the various leagues, such as PSGL and other places like where I began my commentary career, and then coming all the way to the pinnacle as far as the league racing is concerned on PS4. Now it's Apex Online Racing. So a big thank you to all the admins, drivers, and my fellow commentators in that particular community that I have worked with and come across over those years. But I will also say that I will still be around AOR. I will be taking up a new role, which I will be discussing outside of the stream. But let's get back to the action then. Tyrell Snitzel, the early set with Sven Noller, a race winner this season, and Blizzard and Danny MG and Demon making a return here today, which apparently, Andy, along with Alex, is his retirement race.
Yes, I do believe so. Demon joining back in for what I do believe is one final race. To give him that final send-off that he's looking for. We already know that Alex is going to stop racing, certainly at least in terms of top-tier AOR, after this round. So he's not made a lap yet. He's actually still in pit lane. But it's, it's a race of finals for a few people, including yourself, as you've just mentioned. But well, Schnitzel comes back after taking a number of races off due to injury and other events going on, and he's popped himself back into provisional pole already, although look at the gaps. Casper in second, 8/100ths just behind. Sven Noller in third, just about a tenth, just shy of a tenth behind. And Blizzard up there in fourth, who is just over a tenth. So it's very, very close already at the top of the field. 15 drivers here. Could be anybody's. Will we see a 7th winner here tonight?
Yes, well, we've had 7 winners already actually this season, so it could be an 8 from the cards. Although Tyrell Snitzel will have something to say about that. Multiple race winner this season, of course, absolutely dominant title defense to win his 2nd championship, and he will be the heavy favourite, assuming he does continue in this top tier. I mean, there are strong rumours he may be heading to the PC format to prepare himself for a possible assault on the official esports scene, and given what we've seen, that would be a strong possibility. And well, it's interesting, the actual track map shows when someone invalidates, so that's quite a nifty feature. Didn't know that, so that would be quite useful as we're going through the qualifying. I'm not going to have the full track map on all the time. I'm going to just have the mini map like this, but then when we have certain situations when someone retires, we can quickly switch between the two to see what's going on. What are your thoughts on this new feature? I think, personally, long time coming.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as I was joking about with you earlier, this is the first time I've booted the game up since last week, so it's the first time I've actually seen it. And I quite like it, actually. As you say, didn't notice it was given the feature of showing when there's been an invalidation. So that's very useful to us when it comes to qualifying, to know if someone is still on a lap or if they have invalidated, because that was one of the things we had to usually wait until they crossed the line to find out. So definitely a nice little feature there for sure. And as you see, you can send it to the full track map and find out, exactly if someone has crashed out. So yeah, definitely liking that feature, and looking forward to using that a wee bit more in the future as well.
Yeah, and Sod's Law, of course, Andy, they bring in this fantastic new feature just as I do my last full-time commentary. So not going to get too much use
The way of the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, it's not, as I say, it's not a retirement for me. I will be still commentating now and again, perhaps special AOR events like, I don't know, Christmas Cup in the future, something like that. I still enjoy commentary, and I would do another season. But, it's a good way to go out. I've done all 21 races of this particular season. Now, we're going to do a hot lap. We had a slightly late start due to some issues with YouTube in terms of interacting with my encoder.
Let's go on board with Demon.
Yeah, and I was going to say that exact thing, because Demon, and I think we'll also feature Alex as well when he does his next qualifying lap. So Demon, taking a lap of Yas Marina Circuit for one last time. Andy Campbell, take it away.
Here we go, down towards turn number 1. You're looking for the braking zone just after 100-metre point, down to third gear briefly, back up through the gears. He's slowed back out of that already, actually, as Demon by the looks of it, so we'll keep on with him. Now through turns 3, 2 and 3 through the curves and down towards turn number 4 and then turn 5 into the chicane. Tricky little section here, taking it nice and easy, and then up towards turn 7 in the race. You'll be wanting to get a really good exit out of here down the back straight, as obviously this is one of the 2 DRS zones here at the Yas Marina Circuit. As you can see, Demon building up the speed gradually. He's got everything turned down, so I don't know if he's made a mistake and he's unhappy, but we'll stick with him for now, because I would imagine he's going to try one more time. Down into the braking zone at turn number 8, again, very good overtaking opportunity if you get a good run. Through turn 9 as he completely takes liberties with the curb, and then through the curve of what is turn number 10. Second DRS zone down the back straight where the support pit is, and then up towards turn 11 again. It will be heavy braking into here, easy in, down to around about second, third gear, clip the apex on both the right and the left through the chicane there, it turns 12 and 13, through 14, can be very easy to catch the inside curb and push yourself off, and then through the double, triple almost right-hander, 15, 16, and then braking into turn 17, use as much of the inside curb as you can, into turn 18, go underneath the hotel here, turn 19, you be very careful you don't catch that wall on the outside, that will take your tyre off, and then into the last two turns, turn number 20, nice and easy through there, and then turn 21, be around about third gear through here. That is a bit more of a pedestrian lap there because Damien made a mistake, but it's a lap of the Yas Marina Circuit nonetheless.
Yeah, I would say that's probably the slowest hot lap you've ever had to cover, Andy, in our time as commentary partners together. And we're going to go on board now with Tyrrell Schnitzel, who's the first driver attempting to get under the 133 barrier into the 32s, just ahead of Casper. We've had some insanely competitive qualifying sessions this season, which have been among the highlights of this particular season, even if the races have often been won by this man, Dominic Hoffman. But there's barely a tenth and a half separating the top four at the moment. Here comes Tyrrell Schnitzel, slightly wide out of the final corner, but he goes quicker, 132.952. The final exit is a very important call, not just for the end of the lap, but for the beginning. If you mess up the final exit, you can lose several tenths before you even start the lap, and that's not ideal at all. But very good lap there by Tyrrell Schnitzel. So Casper, he's on the fast lap tour, and as ever, the two Alfa Romeos showing very good teamwork, because it looks like Casper's about to get a nice tow from his teammate tactician there, Andy.
Yeah, definitely so, and he's gone purple in Sector 1 as well, so he's definitely up at the moment. It looked like it could be a good lap for the Dutchman. You can see his Finnish teammates just slowly going to pull away to the left-hand side. Absolute perfection. That is synchronised tactics there for you. Absolute brilliance from the two of them. They've done it all year long. Casper will repay that favour next time round as well, and the Dutchman coming towards the end of Sector 2 very shortly. Be interesting to see if he's still up as he goes through the Sector 2 point, and yes, it's purple in Sector 2 as well, so this is looking like a very good lap possibly from the Dutchman. Finally got that monkey off his back. We're getting victory at the Circuit of the Americas a few rounds ago with that first ever Tier 1 victory, and he's really got the bit between his teeth coming into a real nice patch of form here as the season finishes through turns 18 and 19. Underneath the hotel he goes, just brushing up against that barrier and no more. There's a Williams up ahead which will hopefully not hinder him. Stays out the way. Through the last two turns goes Casper. What's it going to be? It's a 1:32.9 and it's a 32.7, and that is provisional pole for Casper.
Yeah, about as perfect an execution of a lap by the Alfa Romeos as you can get. The Casper laying down a challenge to Tyrrell Schnitzel. Blizzard has actually moved up to P3 while this has been going on, and Sven Nolla in P4. Nadi Perez with his best race of the season last week in Brazil in a very solid P5. With Danny NG, tactician, Asnar Prinez and Deso making up the top 10. Likes of Hugh Golf not here unfortunately, so I hope they're all well, whatever they're doing. With Demon, Reyes, Williams, Jim Roy, the Mexico Grand Prix winner, and Lee Finley and Alex making up good at the moment. Two drivers, 14 15, the only drivers not setting a time so far. 1.5 seconds covering the top 13, so that's a fairly tight field spread, with the top 10 covered by less than a second, and that's what you want to see. Now a question for you, Andy. If Tyrrell Schnitzel were to move to PC, as some suggest he may well do so, how competitive a grid would it be next season with Speedbarry and Schnitzel both leaving, given some of the titanic races? That America's trilogy, for me, Mexico, USA and Brazil, was the best part of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in terms of if Schnitzel was to move, I mean, you've got Michael obviously went across there, Speedbarry left a few rounds ago. You know, you've got the likes of Jarno Opmeer in there as well, Danny. It's just such a stacked grid. But if that was to happen, this could really make Tier 1 F1 here on the PlayStation 4 a very, very open league where anybody could win any given week. And it could make it one of the most competitive out there as well, if that was to happen. Because there's so many good drivers here. We've had 6 different winners. 3 of them, of course, have gone to PC. Schnitzel's taken 12 victories throughout the season as well, which is just absolutely insane, considering he's only raced 16 times before tonight. Speedbarry's won 3. We've seen Michael win in China. We've also seen Sven Noller win. We've seen Jim Roy win at Mexico in that treacherous late conditions of the rain. Casper winning in America. There's a lot of good drivers here. Danny won last week as well. If it was to happen, it could really be a good thing for the PlayStation 4, and obviously it would really increase Schnitzel's chances as well with a pro draft coming up for the esports event. So it could be a win-win all round. You never know. But it's a big, big competitive grid.
Yeah. It is fantastic to see how competitive it is. Desso crosses the line then to start his, what will likely be his final flying lap, because there won't be enough time for him to complete this lap and get back to pit lane. Quite a few drivers now peeling out the pit lane for the final time in this session, the final qualifying session of Season 18 of Apex Online Racing PS4 F1. We've seen some excellent races in Oceania earlier on in the day, and then of course after us we'll have the PC and Xbox tiers to follow, so stay tuned on this channel once we are done here. Hopefully we'll get a few donuts at some point after the race, maybe during the race. Perhaps Alex, if he doesn't advance from his P15 at the moment, will decide to serenade us with some donuts at the end of the race. But now, into the final 2 minutes of this qualifying session. It is Casper, currently in P1, battling Tiras. They have regularly fought over pole positions this season. Blizzard, well, we've seen some excellent qualifying from him. And Blizzard, a solid first season for Blizzard in the... after the raid for the F2 team, but it's actually Tactician who is the best of the 3 F2 graduates who started this season. He will be destined to finish in the top 6 championship, which again is very, very solid from him. Now let's have a look at Tyrell Snitzel. Tyrell Snitzel then has just started his final lap. I'm sure Desso will see his progress there. So let's get the mini-map back on. Into the opening chicane of this lap, which of course is part of the Rallycross circuit. Which I have been starting to get into the World Rallycross Championship because it is great fun to watch, although I have to admit the Abu Dhabi round wasn't particularly entertaining compared to some of the other races I saw. Yellow in Sector 2, I think that's just, yeah, that is the hassle of Prenez just slowing down. So if he slows down enough, Tyrell might get a sneaky little toe out of turn 9 and 10, then on to the end of this particular flat out section. Snitzel then trying to find the braking zone all the way down to first gear, even momentarily, just to aid with the traction out of the corner. So you can go all the way down to first gear even for a moment. But Tyrell Snitzel appears to be slightly up on his time, but that wasn't the purple sector just then. He's got Alfa Romeo just ahead of him. Might affect him. No, it shouldn't affect him because that was Casper just getting out of the way. Still on his outlap. Swen Nolo has actually moved up to P2, just over... under a 10th, I should say, behind. Danny MG moves up to 3, so if Tyrell Snitzel makes a mistake here, he's going to be starting P4. Tyrell Snitzel then, around the final corner, the reigning double champion. He goes pole over 32.750, and Casper at session has finished. Did he not get over the line quickly enough, or something
missed
like that?
It. He didn't get over the line in time, he just missed it by the slimmest of margins.
I think that's probably because he had to slow down for Tyrell Snitzel, so that matters to Snitzel for the time being. Impigo and Blizzard getting a nice toe, a mighty toe from the Toro Rosso, and that is Lee Finley up ahead of him. So this could give Blizzard half a chance of getting onto the front 2 rows here. Let's see who else is out there. Swen Noller's finished his qualifying, just over a 10th ahead. Who else is there? Val has not. He's in the final set. Nope, he is invalidated, as you can see from the minimap. That is a very useful feature, actually. It means you don't have to waste time finding out. And Jim Roy has invalidated as well. So Jim Roy, the Mexico Grand Prix winner, is going to start in P14 at the back of the grid. So that is desperately bad luck for him. But so the only driver now who can really threaten the positions will be, oh my goodness, Blizzard almost out of the Middle East entirely with that line now to turn 14 into the hotel sections, which is just absolutely splendid in the low light. It is dusk at the moment. Of course, during the race, it goes from dusk into the dead of night. But here comes Blizzard then, through the final section of turn 19, 20. Now he's got to try and get... No, he's invalidated. So that is the end of your qualifying session. And it is Tyrell Snitzel who is going to be on pole position on his return after missing the last 3 races. And that is quite typical, isn't it, Andy, for him to just come back as if he hasn't been gone at all.
Yeah, absolutely. It's his 7th pole position of the season as well. So he's got the most race wins and the most pole positions in the season too. Takes a few races out with other events. The injury he had, comes back. This is still my place. This is still my gaff. Just puts it back in pole position. But Casper only 4 100ths behind, and if you look down the field, the top 11 are covered by less than a second, and everybody that's set a lap, so it's all the way down to 14 for Jim Roy, and you know that's not quite a representative time from the Red Bull driver. 1.5 seconds roughly between the entire field. So this is this could be a very good race. We could see a mighty scrap in the midfield, which was seen all season long as well. 2 big DRS zones as well. We could see plenty of overtaking.
Yeah, absolutely. And in terms of the strategy, 2-stop could well be expected here because they want to be avoiding those hard tyres because they just don't perform really at all. They take so long to come up to temperature, and although they last the entire race, they don't really have any performance. So we will be looking possibly at a strategy for those inside the top 10 of a soft and then a double medium stint. And I hope, Andy, it is the case we get a 2-stop, because 2-stop races do often produce very exciting racing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the best strategy is soft tape it around about 3 to 6 for your first stop, and then around about lap 15 to 17 for the second. You can go medium, soft as well. Soft to hard as possible, but those hards are much slower, around about 1.5 seconds, so don't expect to see them. And there is the qualifying standings. So Schnitzel taking the final pole position this season from Casper in second. It could be a titanic battle between those two for the win. Sven Noller in third, another mighty fine performance from the Spaniard. The Danny MG in fourth, Blizzard up there in fifth position, Nardi Perez in sixth, Tactician in seventh, Prinez in eighth, Demon on his return and final race in ninth, Alvaro Anzar in 10th. They'll all start the sauce, and it's Dezo, Reyes, Alex, Jim Roy in 14th. Lee Finlay set no time during the session. He'll start at the back of the field in his Toro Rosso.
Yes, well, again, a qualifying session that really did sum up the competitive spirit of this grid this season. I mean, Tyrrell Schnitzel, he's not overwhelmingly faster than the rest of the grid based on qualifying, but it's been his consistency in race trim, his ability to look after his tyre and just sort of turn it up a couple of gears, so to speak, to do that. So we see some action from earlier on here. A historic car demo of the Red Bull RB6, which won Sebastian Vettel his first ever championship in the 2010 Formula 1 season, which was one of the dramatic title deciders which have taken place here. Of course, Abu Dhabi, the season finale since 2009. A lot of people, perhaps including myself, would prefer the season finale to be at another track, perhaps a Brazil or even a Circuit of the Americas. So that would be perhaps a better choice. But it has certainly proven its longevity compared to a lot of those other home and tilt tracks, Andy, which seem to disappear off the calendar after a few years. But this track's been around for well over a decade now on the F1 calendar.
Yeah, absolutely. If I remember correctly, debuted, I think it was 2009 was its first ever race, and obviously that RB6 that you're watching at the moment was what Vettel won his first championship in 2010. That was the only time in the whole season that Sebastian led the championship. It was at the end of the final race, which is pretty much where you want to do it anyway, but it has lasted a lot longer than other places. I mean, I can think of Turkey's fell by the wayside during that time, South Korea, India. There's been quite a few tracks in there as well, but it has held back. In terms of real life, I'll be honest, it's not a favourite track to watch a race on. It's usually a bit of a boring race, but it is a bit different when it comes to doing this stuff. Usually we get some really good races around here in the league racing, and I'm hoping tonight will be much the same.
Yes, I mean, from a personal point of view, in terms of driving league races here and commentating on them, I always look forward to coming here because it's a really strange quirk that this track does seem to produce really great racing in the game, but not so much in real life, and I think that is down to the aerodynamics of the car to a degree. But here we go, the formation lap for the final race of the season. One last time, the grid will sort of warm up their tyres in anger. Some are weaving crazily, others not so fuss about that, getting the temperature instead through the heavy braking, when there's plenty of areas to get that done. So those outside the top 10 starting on the mediums, as you would expect, unless someone is really unlucky on the start, they will not be going for the hard tyres at any stage during this race. So I think everyone will be doing a form of a two-stop of some kind, but anyone who is on the soft tyres at the end of the race will have a significant pace advantage, but they may not have the track position. So that's going to be an interesting. So Tyrrell Schnitzel then leading the grid here from Casper, Sven Noller, Danny MG. So 4 race winners in the top 4 with Blizzard and Nardi Perez just behind. And perhaps they can add their name to the winners rostrum, which would be 8 different winners, which Andy, given Tyrrell Schnitzel won pretty much 100% of the races apart from Michael early on the season, it's actually quite remarkable we ended up with so many different race winners.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Schnitzel run 12 races, Speed Barry won 3, Casper, Jim Roy, Sven Noller and Danny MG have won 1 each. So we could see another onto this tonight. Same for pole position, 7 poles for Schnitzel, 3 for Speed Barry, 4 for Casper, 1 for Sven Noller, 2 for Danny MG, and 1 for Blizzard, which if I remember rightly was France. Quickly, last other wee bits. In terms of most positions gained off the start, Jim Roy, 2.9 positions gained during the season. Biggest loser off the start is normally Blizzard, 3.3 places lost from his grid position. He'll be hoping to not do that tonight.
Yes, indeed. But here we go then. The grid is lining up. You can feel the tension on the pit wall and the anticipation in the crowd. One last time then in AOR F1 on PS4. We are underway and racing. And it's Tyrell Snizzle who makes a typically solid start. But look at that. Casper getting on the gears and nearly threatening. Here, look at the battle behind. Sven Noller and Danny MG going side by side. Sven Noller forced off. Danny MG gaining a position up to third. Blizzard trying to threaten behind. Looks like a fairly clean start so far as they tumble down towards the chicane for the first time at the end of Sector 1. We see Prinez in the background, tactician looking to have a better race than he did last week. Over this around Jim Roy making positions already side by side. They go with Alvaro Aznar and then the long plunge. Oh, and slight contact between, well, I'd say more than slight contact. Side by side the Williams go. They're going to keep fighting. Oh no, look, watch out for Deso just behind you. May think about getting involved. So much slipstream into that corner, but Deso going to have to think better of it. Jim Roy trying to get down the inside. He's on the mediums, don't forget. He's trying to get into the top 10. Alvaro Aznar just about holds him off. But Alvaro Aznar, I think he didn't like that little contact earlier, forcing him off. The battle will continue. This is typically insane action from the midfield, which has been the case all season. Here comes Jim Roy. Would he go for a dive down the inside? That was also the F2 line there, so tight into there. But overall, apart from those two, pretty civilised so far. Tyrell Snizzle maintaining his lead from Casper. Dan MG up to third. Sven Noller in fourth. Blizzard in fifth. Nadi Perez in sixth. Prenez in seventh. Tactician in eighth. Demon in ninth in his final race. Alex has not gained any position from the back yet. Navarro has not just about, and he holds on to that position in P10 despite the best efforts of Jim Roy to run him off the road almost.
Yeah, absolutely. Jim Roy gaining 3 places off the line on tyres. I think that Alvaro Aznar going through the curves up the hill, turns free on the exit. Dezo got pushed wide a little bit with Alvaro Aznar side by side in the racing point, jumping across the curbs. He was lucky to keep control of that and not pick up any obvious damage there. He's still in 12th position, trying to keep on tails of them. But apart from that, it looked like a pretty clean start through the field. Jim Roy is your biggest gainer, up 3 places. Danny's up a place, as is Prinez and Lee Finlay, with Dezo, Reyes, Alex, Tactician and Sven Noller all losing 1 place on the opening lap.
Yes, certainly Jim Roy looks like the biggest winner so far, getting 3 positions as Andy mentioned. Sven Noller looking slightly closer. Casper keeping Schnitzel honest. I think Casper would love to end the season on a high by beating Schnitzel in a fair fight. All 15 drivers surviving the opening lap. We're on the second lap. DRS will be enabled at the end of this lap by race control, and that's where things will start to get really interesting. Sven Noller will know that he'll need to keep the pressure up on the Renault driver, and Danny MG will know full well that he needs to try and stay within a second of Casper ahead, because if he does, he will be very vulnerable. There's such a powerful DRS and slipstream here if you are not within a second of the car in front, so defending very tricky. You'll see lots of late braking on the inside, particularly into turn 11 in the second DRS zone to defend position, so some exciting side-by-side action. Brazil was a strange tactical race last week where a lot of drivers were following each other very closely but were unable to get alongside each other to overtake. I think it will be slightly different this time. I think when we get the drivers in the DRS zones, there will be more opportunities to overtake here. But the top 5, oh, and Blizzard just had a massive moment out of the final corner. I'm not sure he avoided contact of the wall, but here comes Nadi Perez. We'll have to check, but I think Blizzard might have just tagged the wall slightly. He's just been overtaken by Nadi Perez, but that was a massive moment. Blizzard. Just having a closer look at him now. No, it looks like he may have just avoided damage. Blizzard's going to try and come back at the Red Bull. Nadi Perez having another impressive showing. Again, finishing the season very strongly. But we're going to go straight to the front and see if there's any changes of position here, because Casper in DRS of Schnitzel and Danny MG within DRS of Sven Noller. The top 4 now 1.6 seconds ahead of Nadi Perez. Blizzard trying to come back behind. We may see them in the background. Yeah, we see Blizzard trying to get ahead of Nadi Perez, but no change of position in the top 4 at the moment. Tactician has fallen a second out of it, and now it looks like Prinez is trying to pass Blizzard as well, but we're going to keep an eye on Sven Noller, because Sven Noller looks like he may have half an opportunity to launch an attack into turn 11. Look how close Casper is ahead. of Schnitzel, and perhaps next lap round he may have a move. There's nothing to lose here now, Andy. They may as well go for it. This is the final race. They will not be using these engines or gearboxes again after this one.
No, absolutely not. It's a fresh slate next time by. Blizzard's curb on the exit in the last corner. He didn't pick up any obvious damage that we can see of. However, I have noticed one thing. Remember last week when he was on the tail end of the top 4 and he ended up with a DRS failure? I think he's got DRS failure again, because both DRS zones there, he had the DRS available to him and he never opened it. I think he's picked up another failure. How unlucky can you get 2 races in a row if that is the case?
Yeah, I've never seen that happen to anyone. 2 DRS failures in 2 different races. That is desperate bad luck. And this is one track you don't want to have damage. Oh, it looks like Demon is in. You may see if that's a tactical change. I know the soft tyres in the top 10 don't last too long. It's just a wing change. No, it looks like a tactical change. So we'll see what he goes on. That will likely be the medium.
Yep.
It's Sven Noller right behind Danny Ng, but the top 4 utterly dominant at the moment. 2.3 seconds now in Nardi Perez. They are setting a searing pace compared to the drivers behind. It's definitely a 2-part race now. Blizzard, well, he'll hopefully get that DRS sorted so he can start to fight back against the likes of Prines and Nardi Perez. So there's lots of exciting battles brewing here. We're going to just have a look at Jim Roy, because Jim Roy is going alongside Asnar. Those softs are beginning to get a little bit hot under the collar, and that allows Jim Roy this time to get a fairly comfortable overtake done. Let's go back to Sven Noller. Sven Noller getting ever closer to Danny MG, but because Danny MG is just within DRS of the cars ahead, he is able to stay ahead. Any other battles going on behind as Danny MG picks up a time penalty? That's not going to help his battle for the podium. At the moment, he would be finishing P4. So that's good news for Sven Noller and Casper and Tyrrell Schnitzel, none of which themselves have got penalties at this point. So Nardi Perez in P5, Prines in P6, Blizzard in P7. Still no word where his DRS has been reactivated. Tactician in P8, Jim Roy in P9. So let's have a look and see what did Demon change to the medium. So yeah, it's an early tactical stop, so that would confirm to me Demon at least is going to be doing a 2-stop, Andy.
Yeah, absolutely. Prines and Blizzard now into pit lane as well. No fix to that DRS on that Renault at the moment. Now we're pit stops tacticians in as well, as is Alvaro Anza. So we're now into that pit stop phase, end of lap 4, start of lap 5, and the rest of the field starting to come into pit for medium tyres. But the top 4, as you say, have disappeared from the rest of the field, nearly 3 seconds from Sven Noller to Nardi Perez, and it's a bit of a theme we've seen over the last few races, especially the top 3 or 4 cars seem to disappear off and leave the rest of the midfield behind, and well, we could end up with Brazil all over again. The only difference is we might see more overtaking this time. Last week it took a daring move from Danny MG and then some fantastic defensive driving for the Spaniard to pick up that victory in Brazil. I get the feeling that we might see a wee bit more overtaking this week.
Yes, and one
Speaking
particular
of,
battle being free there, and yep, going to go straight back to Sven Noller because this is the battle we've been waiting for the last few laps. So Danny MG is going to try and cover off the inside. We've seen plenty of battles like this in F1 and F2 in recent years, but Danny MG takes the inside line. It's very tricky to overtake on the outside. You really need to be slightly ahead in terms of a car's width and in terms of down the order. Blizzard, as I think he's had a brief exchange with Demon, who did pit earlier. So, and a slight contact from Sven Noller, I think, and oh my goodness, that was a little mistake there. But back to Sven Noller, and I think he made slight contact with Danny MG, which forced him off just before going under the hotel. And now, and a move to the inside at the final. Oh no, it's actually them both entering the pit lane. I thought, no, that's surely a crazy place to try and overtake, and the camera angle fooled me slightly there. But this is a straight fight between the McLaren and Renault pit garages. This is important for both of them. And here we go then. Who's Renault gives, and that's a superb pit stop from the Renault boys, and that's actually probably gained him quite an advantage there. So fantastic work from the Renault team. So one Renault is doing pretty well, and the other one, well, Blizzard, we have no word yet on whether he has fixed his DRS. But here we go then. Back to the front we go. Tyrrell Schnitzel and Casper now battling over lead, and Casper on his own right, these two have looked after their tyres pretty well. They've gone further, still have decent pace left, but Casper keeping a watching brief all the time here. Let's have a look at his battery. Yep, has plenty, but doesn't seem willing to go on full attack yet. And as I just say that, he goes into hot lap mode and full overtake mode. So he is looking to go for it, and look, he's got decent overspeed on Snitzel, but not quite close enough. Snitzel must have had plenty of battery himself to defend the place. Let's have a look at Deso, because here we go then. Side by side goes Deso with Reyes trying to get overtaken. Watch out for Lee Finn just fine. We go on board. Oh, he's going to get past him. Yes, he does. And Reyes went very deep into the following corner, but was able to get it calmly slowed down. So a very decent overtake there from Reyes. So it looks like plenty of drivers opting to do the 2 stops. At the very least, I don't think there's any doubt about that. Mediums will not go to the end from here. So, I mean, hell, if some drivers look after their tyres, they might even be able to get away, perhaps with a soft, medium, soft. That's quite unlikely to say, because the softs just don't last so long because of the temperatures really more than the tyre wear. So Deso overtaken by Reyes then for P4, and into the pit lane comes Casper. Now, interestingly, Snitzel, they were very close, half a second between them. So Casper, this is crucial. He's got to try and get ahead of Sven Nola and Danny MG. They're rounding the final corner. If Casper can get ahead of these two, he has the opportunity to get the undercut done. Where is Casper? Casper is coming out tunnel. This is going to be mightily close. Look at the track map. It's going to be very close indeed. Danny MG coming out, and I think Casper's done it. Yes, Casper has done it. And Sven Nola's slow pits on the McLaren certainly cost him. He's now 1.6 seconds behind Danny MG. That just shows it didn't go well for the McLaren driver. So now Casper, this is crucial. He's got to get onto the pace immediately and try not to be overtaken by Danny MG. Because if these two start to squabble, Snitzel, who will be certainly not running at quite a good a pace because of the older soft tyres, could be in trouble. If these two start scrapping though, that will favour Snitzel once again. And Deso looks like it's being overtaken by Lee Finney. Going to keep an eye on this battle though, because this is quite crucial for the net lead of the race potentially down the line. So Danny MG chasing down Casper as they go into the second DRS zone once again. How close is Danny MG getting? He hasn't decided to go into attack mode, so I think that they perhaps both know that they can't get into the squabble, Andy, because if they do, it will give Snitzel a chance to defend against the undercut they're both attempting.
Yeah, absolutely, and I must say one thing, the undercut seems to be pretty powerful around here. If you look just behind Sven Nola, Prenez and Blizzard have both jumped Nardi Perez during that pit stop phase. So the undercut does seem to be pretty powerful. It's brought them into play as your race leader does head for pit lane now. TRL Schnitzel into the pits. He's got a clear pit lane all to himself. Now, it was a gap of about 19 seconds roughly before the pit stop between him and Casper. This is going to be very, very close indeed as the drivers, the 5 on the mediums that started the race on that, go into the lead of the race.
I think they're going to do it. I think they're going to both get past him, because Tyrrell Snitzel is just exiting the pit lane now, and yes, Casper and Danny MG are both ahead of him. And unfortunately, Sven Nola, he wasn't able to get involved there, but Tyrrell Snitzel has now got some overtaking to do. Now we'll see what the double champion is made of on his return to the grid today. But this has really brought the race to life. These two stoppers always bring great action, and Abu Dhabi once again offering some delightful stuff early on. Tactically, this is what we wanted to see as a neutral. Tyrrell Snitzel not able to run away with it. He's now got to think about this and try and overtake Casper and Danny MG to get back into the net lead of the race. Tyrrell Snitzel then having a look. That's a terrible camera angle. Thank you, director. And Danny MG and Casper right ahead of it. We could go potentially 3 wide into the end. That's a terrible exit from Danny MG though, and that's going to give Snitzel a chance. Oh, nearly squeezed to the wall. Barrichello reverse style by Danny MG. Danny MG knew he had a poor exit. He had to cover it off. Here comes Snitzel then with a dive to the inside. He's gone very deep indeed, and he gets the overtake done. That was an absolutely brilliant overtake from Tyrrell Snitzel. Just had enough room on the road. Fair play, Danny MG giving him just, and I mean just enough space, but that is a hallmark of a champion there. That kind of overtake. He was absolutely ruthless there, Andy. One opportunity and he went for it.
Absolutely. I mean, from my point of view, I've just seen 3 same in a matter of seconds. Finley round the outside of race. Oh, Sven crashing.
Oh my
He's
goodness.
out of the race. Huge incident, and a virtual safety car deployed.
Oh yes, look at that. Yeah, he's lost it. We saw he had a collision with someone, and into the pit lane. More drivers trying to take advantage of a free pit stop. Alex is in the pit lane, so is Deso and Prenez. So that's interesting timing on that. But not a full safety car though. But we have a virtual safety car, so lots of frills and spills here. So Sven Nola becoming the first retirement of the race with a massive impact out of the exit of turn 17, and DRS is enabled, and we're back racing again. So we'll go back to Tyrrell Snitzel and have a look at him. He is now on the back of Casper, and Tyrrell Snitzel, well, if there's one driver who knows how to overtake when he is wanting to get into his preferred P1 position, it is him. We saw that in Germany where he came from the back of the grid to win the race there at Hockenheim. But the top three now, Blizzard at sea has recovered decently. He is now, it seemed like Blizzard and Sven Ola were near each other. So whether that was related or Sven Ola just went into the wall on his own accord, we're not sure. We haven't heard any team radio, no sort of angry sort of Alonso style team radio, you know, leaving that space and all that. So Tyrrell Snitzel then not able to overtake Casper for the time being. And it's that exit out of that second chicane that is going to be so crucial for Casper in the next few laps.
Yeah, absolutely. Not quite sure what happened to Sven. Blizzard doesn't have any damage to his car, so it certainly doesn't seem to be anything untoward at this point in time. I'm sure we'll hear later on. But just before that happened, I was saying I'd seen Lee Finlay go around the outside of Reyes. I'd seen Alex go around the outside on, I can't remember who it was now because there's so much Deso as well, so two lovely moves, and then Schnitzel diving up the inside as well with a late braking lunge but cleanly done as well too. So three great moves that I had the pleasure of seeing thankfully there as I was working my way through the field, and some great racing going on as always. But such a shame for McLaren to be out of the race. He got caught up in that pit stop phase. It dropped him behind, because if it hadn't cost him that time in the pit stop, he might have jumped Schnitzel as well, and then big if he might not have been caught up in that. We don't know what happened, but I did say in the qualifying lap that wall is very good at catching people out, and it certainly caught Sven Oller's car tonight.
Yeah, so it seemed like they had a problem with one of the tyres in the McLaren pit stop. They just couldn't get away with it. I don't think it was held up, just maybe a slow exit. But now Tyrrell Snitzel having half a look, and they are now approaching the drivers who started on the mediums, the likes of Reyes, Lee Finlay and Jim Roy. Jim Roy, the leading of those who started on the mediums at the moment. But here goes Casper, he's going to cover the inside immediately. He's got no choice but to do so. But here comes, oh, and he's left a slight gap. Here comes Snitzel again. Down the inside he goes, and into P4 he goes. Casper, he seemed to cover it off nicely, but here comes Danny MG trying to sneak through ahead of him as well, who did pick up another time penalty, who has got 6-7 time penalties. Casper's like, well, I'm going to lose one place, I'm going to lose two, sunshine. So he's covered that off. But yeah, Danny MG trying to be very sneaky there, but not able to do that. But yeah, Danny MG with those 6-second time penalties, that's going to really hurt him later on in the race, because Casper and Snitzel do not have any penalties at the moment. But they're now beginning to catch up to Reyes, and actually Tyrrell Snitzel is now within second, but actually very handedly Reyes gets out of the way, so Casper will be slightly frustrated by that, because he won't be able to sort of take advantage of Snitzel being held up for a few corners to sort of keep within a second of him. And now is this the sort of standard what we see? Yes, it is. Snitzel has gone full attack on the hot lap, on the start of that lap. He's trying to break the DRS and break the will of those trying to prevent him from winning yet another race this season. And who knows, Andy, if he had not missed those races, who knows, that trilogy of Americas may not have been as exciting, because it's just showing once again why he did win his second championship, become a double champion in such dominant style, because it's just all the hallmarks of what we've come to know from him for the last two seasons.
I've joked about it with him in interviews. Is there any can stop him through this? And it's not to dishearten anybody else, because we've got a lot of good drivers here, but Schnitzel's just been on a different level this season, especially. He's just drove the wheels off that thing, and yet it's looked so effortless at the same time. I mean, that move on Casper just slightly opened the door. It was the equivalent of leaving about a Rizzler paper worth of space down the inside, and the champion just went, thank you very much, I'll have that, and boom, he was through. It reminded me, as you say, Germany, when he made the move and he just drove off, and look at that, he's already 1.6 seconds up the road in just under a lap. It's incredible pace that he's showing, right behind Lee Finlay at the moment. Lee's tyres will be going off, and he pits. How's that for absolute idealism there as well? Schnitzel into P2. It's only Jim Roy ahead, and he's out of DRS as well. It's another serene Sunday drive at the moment. Yeah,
so Tyrrell Snitzel has returned, and he's trying to remind the rest of the grid, if I'm here next season, I will be the favourite to become a triple champion. And it's the kind of level that some of these drivers have got to try and get to, because when Snitzel is in form in this particular tier, he is nigh on unstoppable. Just looking at a battle here for P6, Tactician Demon having a very reasonable race, running high in the lower of the top 10. Asnod just behind him. Alex in a very good P9. Deso, oddly enough, has switched to the soft tyres, but he'll be pitting again quite shortly. He started outside the top 10, so I wonder if he picks up some damage. Perhaps it was during that incident that Swenola had, because he was around that area. Now Danny MG, we're actually going to just keep an eye on Val Asnod, because Val Asnod looking like he's going to make a move. Oh yes, just at the last second, darts out to the left and takes P7. Oh, big lock of the tyres though, and that may put him into danger though, because often you overtake there and then you get attacked immediately. And here comes Demon. Can Demon get out ahead of him? Danny MG still within half a second of Casper. There we go. Here comes Demon then. He's going to try and get his place back, but Asnod going very late on the brakes and defends the place very beautifully. In fact, Demon, to add insult to injury, picks up a time penalty. So the battle for P7, but that has allowed Tactician to break away from these two. Now 1.7 seconds ahead. So we'll go further down the order. And Deso, well, it looks like those softs are not doing particularly well already. Lee Finley on fresh mediums within a second. So the battle of the final championship point may hot up here. And William Jim Roy pits. So TRS every time he's going to get near another car, someone else pits. So Jim Roy will pitting, and then we can. So it looks like those outside the top 10, I would say, Andy, are going for the reverse strategy. So the medium, and then softs at the end for some blistering laps. So they could be quite heavy favourites for the fastest lap come the end.
Yeah, could absolutely be. Mind you, Jim Roy's gone for the, is that the hard
He's gone
compound
for the hard.
tyres?
Well, that's very
Ooh.
interesting. Well, Jim Roy, we do know Jim Roy often likes to go for the unexpected. And Deso's right there, and Jim Roy's come out a very handy P9, so a very decent first stint from Jim Roy. Let's see how these hards do for the next few corners. It's up against the veteran Alex, making his final top tier race today. You know, I mean, what can you say about Alex? One of the biggest legends of the top tier of AOR in this particular era of consoles. And he's making his final bout. Not a season he will particularly remember with fondness, but he's got so many memories from his performances down the years. So we wish Alex all the best for whatever he does, perhaps in League Racing and real life exploits after this one. But here comes Jim Roy, who may make short work of the Mercedes driver, and he does. Alex not really fussed about getting in anyone's way today. So let's just have a quick look at Danny MG. Danny MG is still hounding the heck out of Casper for P2. 2 seconds now the gap in the top two. Just about half distance here, Andy. And it's been a pretty entertaining race so far, as we pretty much expected. And 3 races and this one. What an end to the season it's been, entertainment-wise.
Yeah, it's been a great way to finish off the season for sure. Some fantastic racing out there, some fantastic action, and you know, I would love to see this continue into the new season as well, into season 19. Can you believe 19 seasons of full racing here on AOR? I remember racing in season 5 on the Xbox 360, for crying out loud. Yes, I did used to race once upon a time. But yeah, there's been some fantastic stuff out here. But Schnitzel 2.3 seconds out in the lead. Casper, Danny MG pretty close together. Blizzard's the next nearest car, 7 seconds down. So even with the penalties at the moment, Danny MG is going to still finish on the podium, because he has got away with Sven Noller crashing out. Unfortunately, it means that the top 3 have disappeared from everyone else. Blizzard holding on despite that early DRS failure. He did get it back working. Season 4 Tactician in 5th. Alvaro Anzar 7. Demon about to come under threat from the hard compound. Jim Roy in 8th. And that will be interesting to keep an eye on at the end of the races. Blizzard picks up a 3-second time penalty, and without trying to be horrible to him, one thing that we've seen a lot this season is Blizzard and 3-second time penalty, so hopefully you can knock that one in the head. Here comes Jim Roy though, on Demon. Demon's not really going to fight this one, I don't think. He probably knows Jim Roy's got the fresh tyres, much quicker up the inside. Nice little move there from the Red Bull, puts him up into P7.
Yeah, I mean, Jim Roy going very nicely. And if he can go to the end from here, well, he's got a decent chance of getting a pretty good point, especially some of the drivers ahead of him have got a lot of time penalties, although, you know, he will be very runnable. The hard tyres will be significantly slow, especially if anyone's going to be on the softs at the end of the race. So,
Danny's pitting.
Yeah, Danny MG pits then from P3 at the moment, trying to get the undercut on Casper. Casper and Danny MG have been pretty close the whole race. Jim Roy then heading past, and Danny MG pitting now, but depending where he comes out, he may be falling into a bit of traffic here, so that may be significant for him. There's quite a close group of cars here. And Dan MG should have a few seconds of space. Well, actually no, he's just behind Nardi Perez, And well, that's a nightmare for Danny MG.
That's a train.
If Casper stays out for a few more laps, he may be informed by Tactician, because I know they do, closely communicate with one another, as we always see in qualifying. But if Danny MG can't get some overtakes, I think we'll keep an eye on Danny MG. He's got fresh tyres. I think we're going to see some overtakes from the Renault driver, at least some attempts at them. But first, we'll just quickly look at Williams Jumroy, who's now easily overtaking Bauhaus. These two had a pretty ding-dong battle in the first lap, as we saw. Let's go back to Danny MG then. He's now late on the brakes with those fresh tyres, easily overtakes Nali Perez. And look at this battle up ahead. He's got Reyes, Lee Finley and Desso. He's got 4 cars to get past. Here comes Danny MG then with the fresh tyres, and he just launches straight past Reyes with ease. So 2 overtakes done on this lap alone. Fantastic stuff from Danny MG, carbon field. But this is where it's going to really hurt him, getting stuck behind the likes of Lee Finley and Desso in these slow, windy corners of Sector 3. Although the next corner coming up here, though, it's a particular favourite of mine. He's not going to try and go around the outside. On that corner, I thought for a second he was going to think about it. I mean, that would have been arguably overtaking the season. He pulled that off, even with, to be fair, Lee Finley's only done 3 laps on this medium, so it's not particularly a huge tyre advantage. They'll still be performing pretty well. They don't really go off for some time. Blizzard pits then from what was P3. So Danny MG, despite getting his overtakes done, he's still going to be losing time here compared to the other drivers. Here comes Danny MG for an inside overtake. Don't often see overtakes here, but he's going to go for it. Down the inside goes Danny MG, and a nice love tap for Lee Finley to send him off the road slightly. So Danny MG gained 3 places in just over a lap there. Now he's going to try and get ahead of Desso, so I think it was a good idea, Andy, keeping on board with Danny MG, because he's putting on a bit of an overtaking show. As he goes down inside of Desso, the hairpin, and that was absolutely easy, although Desso's soft tyres are absolutely shot by now, I'm sure. And I think we can see a great view actually from the rear wing as Desso is about to be overtaken by Lee Finley, so that's quite nice to see. So Danny MG now chasing down Alex up ahead. And yeah, Desso trying to defend that position, but look at that, Lee Finley late on the brakes, and we'll see a great view as he gets overtaken on the outside. So brilliant overtake by Lee Finley. Desso didn't really have a prayer defending that though with those worn tyres, and I think Reyes is about to overtake as well. Here comes Danny MG then. He's got plenty of speed there. Right behind him, Reyes trying to get ahead of Desso, but Desso covers him off nicely. So Danny MG, how many is that? 5 overtakes in a lap and a half? That is solid work from Danny MG's carbury champion, but even that may have cost him. But Casper, I wonder what he'll be doing. Is he going to pit now? No, Casper's going to carry on. So it's a long second stint for Casper than Danny MG at the moment. Jim are up to P4. So Danny MG will be on the back of that particular Red Bull pretty soon. But at the moment, Casper, if he doesn't pit soon, if he's going to cover him off, if he's not going to go for the softs, then Danny MG, now he's up to speed and he got through that traffic nice and easily. He may have a bit of a problem in terms of that undercut.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, that was 5 on-track overtakes for Danny MG. It was 6 places gained. Alvaro Anzar came into pits during that as well, but some fantastic overtakes there from the Spaniard, coming through the field back up to P4 already within 2 laps. His pit stop was all the way down in 12th or 13th when he came out of the pits, and pit stops and 5 overtakes on track. Fantastic stuff from him there, and he's already back up to where he wants to be. He's only a second, just over a second behind Jim Roy. He'll catch up to him pretty quickly, I would imagine, as well. I would imagine Casper and Schnitzler are going to try maybe extend the stint just a little bit. They've got around about 16 to 19 seconds as Lee Finley goes diving up the inside on Alex. Lovely little overtake there, but now Alex has got the switchback. Bumping wheels they go. The Mercedes has got off the track, lost a bit of front wing, and well, that ended up a bit messy at the end. It was a late dive from Lee Finley. It was a clean one, and then Alex fighting back, but he's lost some of his front wing. Unfortunately, that's going to hinder the veteran towards the end of this race. He'll probably come in a little bit earlier now for that final pit stop, so he doesn't get hampered too much. But again, plenty of action through the midfield. Jim Roy's the wild card in this, being on the hard compound tyres, but you can see he's struggling. Casper's came into the pits, so he's going to try and see if he can gain some time on the undercut. Jim Roy, though, doesn't need to pit again, because those tyres will get to the end if he can keep enough temperature.
Casper pits then for Alfa Romeo. And well, let's see. Yeah, Casper getting tyres up, but I think Danny MG is going to easily get ahead of him. Yeah, they're already gone to start-finish straight. Oh, goodness me. I think Casper's going to be absolutely miles behind the Renault. So even with that traffic, Danny MG cut through it so quickly. That shows you how powered the undercut. I think even Lee Finley might have a chance here. Lee Finley will have the outside part of the corner. Oh, they're going to be almost side by side here. Oh, goodness me. Casper just get ahead of it. Look at that. 3.2 seconds. Oh, yellow flags.
It's Reyes. Reyes in the wall.
Oh, dearie me. Yeah, Reyes has lost it.
His wing.
Can be quite common to lose it there. But we'll go straight back to Danny MG. Danny MG now, he won at Brazil. Now he's trying to follow it up. And I tell you what, with this kind of undercut, it's even Tyrrell Snitzel under threat here because he gained 3 seconds on Casper. And that was about the gap Casper was behind Snitzel when he pitted. So, well, that is very interesting. Danny's easily, I think he's going to get a double DRS almost here. But yeah, can Danny MG threaten for the victory here?
Okay, imagine if he went 2 in a row here. That'd be a great finish to the Spaniard.
Yeah, astonishing end to the season. But here comes Nardi Perez then, trying to get ahead of Deto. Deto's done a lot of laps on those softs, still out there. And but because he's got no real strength in those tires, he's not able to get ahead of Alex, and that's why he's just kind of stuck behind the Mercedes at the moment. But now the pit loss time is about 20 seconds, and Danny MG's just within that. So he has half a chance. Here comes Tyrrell Snitzel then. Into the pit lane comes the reigning double champion now, having sealed it at Singapore early in the season. Danny MG then coming around the final corner. Although I think Tyrrell Snitzel might just have this covered. We're going to find out shortly. But Tyrrell Snitzel heading towards the exit as he goes over the start-finish line. I think Tyrrell Snitzel's going to just have this. It's going to be close though. Oh, it's going to be very close. Very close indeed. But I think Tyrrell Snitzel's going to just have it. Oh, Willie, here we go. Oh, they're going to be side by side as the exit. Oh, goodness me. Danny MG, if he's going to win this race, he's got to attack now, whilst Tyrrell Snitzel gets his tyres up to temperature. We're going to keep an eye on this for sure. This is a battle for the lead. Lap 19. There's been a yellow flag somewhere. Let's have a look. Possibly
Reyes, I think, coming to pit.
Yeah, maybe he spun at the pit lane big. We'll stick to this battle, though, for the lead. And Snitzel has kept plenty of battery, and I think he's gone into overtake mode just to keep himself some breathing room, and for the time being that has worked out nicely for him. Blizzard passing Prenez. We're just going to see how this develops, but I think Tyrrell Snitzel may have it covered because I don't think Danny MG was quite close enough and doesn't quite have the battery to attack him, but he has had a superb race. Now Jim Roy is somewhat the wild card, as you mentioned, but I think Jim Roy is going to struggle a little bit because he's going to start to lose positions here, and that 3-second penalty is not going to help him either. Casper is going to be on the back of him like a rash very shortly. Alex has just dropped a position to Nardi Perez. Desso in P8, still blizzard in P9, but Alex has that wing damage, so I think he's going to tumble out of the top 10 by the end of the race with all the drivers on fresh tyres behind him. So Casper in P4, I think that will soon be a P3. So Danny MG though has 6 seconds of time penalties at least, so I think he will be dropping possibly off the podium. So Lee Finley might have half a chance of getting a podium given the penalty situation. So Casper setting the fast lap 1:36.756. So those, the likes of Nardi Perez, Alex and Desso, they'll be pitting again, I feel, for some softs at the end. So they'll have blistering pace at the end, Andy. As Casper all over the back of Jim Roy. I think Jim Roy will be better off not really defending this because he's not really going to have the tyres to defend it, is he?
No, definitely not. Alex pits to get rid of the front wing damage. He's gone on to a set of soft tyres as well. Lee Finley's up there in 5th, but he's still got to make another pit stop. He'll have to do a long way on those mediums to get to the end of the race. But watching Casper here, this should be a pretty slam dunk here on Jim Roy, and easily past goes the Dutchman on the Alfa Romeo well before the braking zone up into P3. Jim Roy's still on for decent result of some description though, if he can keep pace, as Blizzard just flies by Deso under DRS, and I'm not going to comment on what I just seen there, but it was lag. Perez looks really good under the brakes, I must say. He's very aggressive under braking. Schnitzel with a time penalty now.
Oh, I tell you what,
Casper's in with a good shout.
Give Casper half a chance here. He's going to have to get onto the pace. But here comes Prenez, who has much fresher tyres than Desso. I'm surprised to set up so long on the softs. It's not worked for him at all, really. He's lost so much time. He loses an upgrade. Prenez with a solid outing again. Didn't race last week in Brazil, but he had a great debut in Haas's best race of the season. Now, a few things have been confirmed with LR2 not racing for Ferrari. Unfortunately, the Scuderia will be finishing in the wooden spoon position in the Constructors' Championship, and Sven Noller's retirement confirms Renault as P6 in the Constructors' Championship. Now, in terms of the battle for the runners-up spot, with Speedbari leaving for PC, of course. Casper required 9 points to get that runners-up position, and he has got that at the moment with his P3 position at least. So Tactician is Desso who finally pits. Another set of softs perhaps. And so that puts the Tactician up to 9th. Demon up to 9th. 10th I should say, in his final bow. So Casper now, as close within the DRS zone. Earlier on we saw Danny MG sort of really taking the fight to him, but Danny MG with that earlier strategy, he's got 3 laps more than Casper, was able to undercut him massively, but Casper has come back at him with a vengeance, and there could be a great battle for P2 here. So at the moment, Casper is just outside that 3-second barrier, which he needs to threaten Tirasnitz, who has that 3-second time penalty now. Now let's go down the order just a little bit, because there's no threat of an overtake here, because Blizzard, Andy, looks like he could have a move on Nardi Perez here, who has much more life on his tyres than Blizzard, who's only had 5 laps on them so far.
Yeah, absolutely. Blizzard just closing in. He's not going to be closer. Oh, you get the feeling there under braking he might have been able to get close. He's felt better off it. He's going to need to follow through or try something a little bit different through this tricky sector 3, as you say. It's a lot of tricky corners, winding corners, couple of 90 degrees as well in there, so probably just going to have to follow him through to the start of the lap, maybe get by. Oh no, wait, not Nardi Perez has just ran wide there, out of turn at 17 I believe that is, and Blizzard gets the move done very early indeed. Schnitzel has 4 seconds clear now on Danny MG, a 2-lap run there, 3 laps, and he's just blown the doors off of him once again. Unbelievable pace from the champion, the double champion, Nardi Perez. Lee Finley's into the pits, Prinez into the pits, but Schnitzel within 3 laps has pulled out 4.6 seconds and completely nullified that 3-second time penalty he picked up already. That is, I'll say it before, I'll say it again, it's amazing, and it's just unbelievable to watch. I'm lost for words watching this guy.
I'm going to cut you off because here comes Casper making a move on Danny MG, and will we get a titanic battle for P2 in the closing laps? Danny MG not really deciding to defend that, but he's going to try and come back at him between turns 9 and 11. The second part of this flat out section split by a chicane in the middle of it, but Danny MG not able to fight back at him at the moment. We're going to go back to Avaro Aznar because he's threatening to overtake Demon, who's attempting to get points in what he says himself is his final race, but you never know. Demon just over a second outside of Tactician, so he won't get DRS, so this will give our Asnar half an opportunity to make an overtake. We're on board now, the Williams driver dinks to the right, dinks to the left, late braking, and it's a pretty comfortable overtake for Demon. Didn't really have the confidence to defend that position, and our Asnar up to P8 with Demon 9. So a decent result for Toros at the moment, P9 and P10, although it's not quite the heady heights of the Speedbari era, of course, the multiple race winner. He will be in the top 3 in the championship. I'm sure he would have been in the runners-up position had he continued. But as it stands, Casper will be taking the runners-up position, having raced 20 races this season. Only missing Bahrain. Blizzard, incidentally, the only driver who has raced every single AOR F1 race this season. So despite the fact that he hadn't had perhaps the results he would have liked, we have to congratulate his dedication to the league for being the only driver to manage that, even when perhaps he wasn't in the mood to race. So fair play to VSR Blizzard. So Varasnar up to P7, Nardi Perez into the pit lane, and he will come out probably around where Nardi Perez and Desso is, so there should be some decent scraps towards the end of the race. Alex in P10 at the moment, so he's going along nicely. Perhaps half an opportunity, Andy, for a final point in his final AOR race.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure that would have been his goal at the start of tonight, is to try and final race and sign off a point there. He's got 3 seconds over Dezo at the moment. Prenez is just about 3.5 behind, so he's got a wee bit of a gap at the moment to hold, and he might just be able to do that. Demon up in 8th in what we believe to be his final race as well, to get the sign off that he wants to finalise that. But Casper at the moment, comfortable in P2, it's going to take the runners up point position. Danny MG, I'll need to check the penalties, could be at risk of losing that podium to Jim Roy, because Jim Roy's just about holding that gap at 4.5 seconds. And I must say, it's an interesting line Danny takes through underneath the hotel. Every lap he's run right off the track through 18 and 19. And I mean, for me, it seems counterproductive, but it must be working for him. I thought it was a mistake he did it earlier on. I've noticed he's done it every lap, so you know, there's a difference for you. Extending the track limits to your own benefit, I guess.
Well, assuming he hasn't got all the warnings there, it must be a good line for him, because if he was getting warnings there and penalties every time, it's obviously going to destroy his chance of getting a podium. Just saw a nice little battle between Prenez and Desso for P11. They went side by side in the first part DRS zone and then again into the heavy braking zone into turn 11. But it's Prenez who's on top, slightly fresher soft tyres, but that's given Alex a bit of breathing room for the time being. He's got his wing fix, I believe, so that's he'll be back up to speed. Demon has kept him in a second. He's in P8 at the moment. Lee Finley and Alex, etc., are on fresh soft. So, like Lee Finley and Alex may come back to Demon. I think Demon would be absolutely delighted with the P8 at this stand. So, most of the fighting action will be low down the order. So, we'll just see if Demon can get close to Marazza. So, a tactician. Again, I think a more solid drive from him this week after what he would, by his own mission, would admit was a disastrous race at Interlagos. Marazza took a huge chunk of that curb. They picked up a warning there. Marazza and Demon are starting slowly. So this is probably the first time in the race where it's been kind of quiet. There's not really many drivers within a second drive. Demon within half a tenth of Marazza, and Nadi Perez closing in on Desso, so I think we might keep a close eye. I think that will be a battle in P12 in the closing stages. So Alex, I think Andy, there could be a huge, perhaps four-way scrap for that final championship point, because Prenez, Desso, and Nadi Perez are all catching Alex by a few tenths a lap, and we've got 3.5 laps to go here of this.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting into the closing stages now. Last couple of laps of season 18. And it could be a heck of a scrap for that final point. As you say, Alex is 6 seconds behind anyone else at the moment, so he'll be hoping some penalties might help him in that. But Prenez, Desso, especially Prenez, obviously he'll be the first one now within DRS range on the Mercedes driver, and he's going to have a good chance down into turn number 8 at the end of this lap. Schnitzel look good up the front, 5 seconds clear of Casper. Danny MG will hold on at the moment to third place. Jim Roy's got 6 seconds of penalties, and Danny's got 9, so he'll hold on to that just now. Blizzard up there in fifth. Tactician, where, as you say, a much better race. He was not happy after last week at Interlagos, so that's a bit more like it, and he will, as we said earlier, finish as the top F2 graduate into this season as well. Blizzard, I know Blizzard could do better than what he's done. He's had a lot of bad luck in places and just pushed too hard and picked up too many penalties. If he can cut a wee bit of that out, he could be up there. He's definitely a good driver, definitely capable. Prenez, though, up the inside on Alex, said it might be coming. DRS assisted, pretty much defenceless Mercedes. Not heard that too often. A Haas up into 10th.
Yes, a very standard overtake there from Prenez up into the final championship point. Alex will try and come back at him if he can. May even think, well, we'll go for a huge lunge. There's nothing to lose at this point. Nadi Perez still trying to get ahead of Desso, but this battle between Desso and Nadi Perez is kind of pushing him away from the battle to get back into the points. So it's rather unfortunate for them how hard they're battling, but at least they're having some fun in the final race. Nadi Perez, well, he had his glory last week in Brazil with that brilliant drive to his first podium of the season. So we had a fantastic race for most of it, but it is kind of turning into a slight anticlimax, but we can reflect on what has been a really entertaining season, which of course has been headlined by one man, and that is Dominic Hoffman. Tyrrell Schnitzel winning race after race, and by the time we got to Singapore round 15, he was in a position to win a championship. As Alex Pitts then from P13, perhaps he's trying to steal a fastest lap as a going away presence, a memento if you will, before he finishes his AOR top tier career. So Desso battling away with Nadi Perez for P11. It's your only real close on track. But let's have a quick look at Tyrrell Schnitzel serenely driving away. However, he is under threat because Casper, I do believe, Andy, has no penalty. So if, at the moment, if Schnitzel wants to pick up another one, Casper may have a chance of stealing a win here.
Yeah, at the moment, Casper has got 2 warnings, no penalties. Schnitzel's a penalty and 1 additional warning, so you would need to pick up another warning and then a third one to be able to then get a penalty. He's got 2 laps to go. I'm sure he'll be keeping it well within the white lines without going too far, and he's on his way to picking up what would be his 13th victory of the season. Unbelievable stuff once again, and well, it's a hard way to look beyond him for driver of the season. It seems kind of obvious, But for me, although he's not here and he disappeared to PC towards the end of the season, Speed Barry was an absolute revelation during the season. Such a find in terms of his speed and consistency. Really surprised us in such a good way. And, he's definitely one to keep an eye on moving forward as well. But this match, Nitzel, what more can you say? Double champion and on his way to a 13th victory seems to make it look so easy out there, but next season could be really, really good. All depends on who decides to carry on driving and where.
Yeah, that would be the question. I'm sure secretly a lot of the F1 group will be thinking, yeah, you can go to PC. Good luck, my friend. Open it up, open the door up for us. It's in some ways it's a similar situation to the Oceania Xbox top tier, which New Zealand Ryan has dominated to perfection in recent seasons. And they say, well, if you can get a PS4 in the Oceania region, that would be good for us. But, you can only beat what's in front of them, and they do it in style. And, Tiro Snitzel is one of those drivers who has taken every opportunity to dominate this championship twice now, and he chooses to stay. He will be the overwhelming favourite to be champion again next time in season 19, which of course will be announced the dates for that in due course, but I think there will be a wee break, a well-earned break for the drivers, admins and commentators after this season. But we hope you've enjoyed all the action this season. I certainly have, covering every single lap, and most of those also covered by Andy very admirably. So, final lap then here at Abu Dhabi. The final lap of the AOR F1 PS4 Season 18. And it's Tyrrell Snitzel who is leading the way. We will keep an eye and see if there's a as not. Was closing on Tactician. He heads through turn 7 the hairpin, and he has nobody ahead of him, nobody behind him really. He's nearly 6 seconds ahead of Casper, so even if he gets a penalty now, Casper will not be able to do anything about preventing him from winning. But well, it is very Lewis Hamilton-like in the Silver Arrow, taking victory after victory. Just to give you some context, 13 victories would be the equivalent of Michael Schumacher winning 13 for Ferrari in 2004 and 13 by Sebastian Vettel for Red Bull in 2013. And Casper, he's certainly...
Hey.
And Alex picks up the fastest lap. So let's have a quick look at Alex. Let's give him a bow. The veteran picking out the fast lap, and he would have enjoyed that moment. So a smile from Toto on the pit wall as his second driver picks up the fast lap on his retirement race here from the top tier. But Tyrrell Snitzel then heading through the final sector here, through the penultimate corner, and round he goes for one last time. The fireworks will erupt, and Tyrrell Snitzel wins at Yas Marina, taking first position here for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. His 13th victory of the season, ending his championship successful defence on a high. What a drive from Tyrrell Snitzel. He was really fought by. And Danny MG finishes second. Casper and... Wait, what's happened to Casper?
There's a glitch. It's saying Casper lap down. Do this manually.
Okay. Well, we are almost certain that Casper has finished in second. He was there. He had no penalties. So yeah, a glitch, unfortunately. So minus everyone a position to where Casper actually finished. So Danny MG finished third in the end. And Williams Jimoy would have finished fourth. Tactician in fifth. Yeah, very confusing, I know, to see on the screens if you've literally just joined us. Although if you have just joined us, where the heck were you? Because that was a very decent end to the season. Let's go on board Tyrrell Snitzel then, as he gets his glorious one. Let's see if Alex is going to give us some donuts in the final corner. Is he going to slow the car down perhaps? No, he's just going to finish, but we will give him...
No, wait, hold on.
Oh, no, he's not. He's just going to go over the line. But yeah, we'll give Alex the checkered flag there. So well done, Alex, finishing his race in his final Tier 1 race in P12. We will have some interviews after the race, as usual. So we'll get those started. But yeah, Tyrrell Snitzel. And it should be Casper and Danny MG on the podium. But again, a strange glitch, which I haven't seen on this game before. So that was bizarre. But Tyrrell Snitzel takes the headlines, takes the checkered flag, and yet again, maybe suffering from a poisoned liver, given the amounts of champagne he's had to drink this season. But he won't be complaining. But of course, Andy, he does finish every race he's competed in. He's finished in the top 2 at least. I mean, that is a staggering record he's got, and he could have even done it for the whole season given his quality.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's a stunning record for first and second in every race, and again, just congratulations to him. It'll be interesting to see what he's get him to give him his plans at the end in a wee minute. But I'll run you through the standings. So it's Schnitzel who wins. It'll be Casper in second due to that glitch putting him a lap down because he wasn't. We know that. So Casper will be second, Danny MG in third, Williams, Jim Roy in fourth, Tactician in fifth, with Lee Finley in sixth, both of those two with no penalties during the race, so well done to them. Demon finishing his final race in seventh, with Blizzard in eighth. Alvaro Anzar in 9th, 18 seconds worth of penalties for the Spaniard, so halfway towards Narnia. Prinez finished the points in 10th, Dezo 11th, Nardi Perez 12th, Alex was 13th, and Reyes 14th, with Sven Noller the only DNF during the race. It's obviously showing you on screen Casper in 13th, but he was not a lap down. He did finish in second, so you will get that. It will be fixed.
Yes, absolutely. Well, we're going to get our interviews underway. So let me just get the invite sent out to the group. And then Andy will whisk his way from the commentary box down to the paddock to try and grab a word with the top three. We may get some extra drivers in here. That's this sort of end of season celebration. But Casper did mention there might be some extra donuts for us. And we will certainly bring you that if that were to happen. Well, Andy, as we prepare to get the drivers in for their interviews, looking back on this season, what are your sort of impressions of the season overall? I mean, apart from the obvious, in terms of, Tyrrell Schnitzel, I mean, there's a few drivers in particular who have also stood out outside of the now two-time champion on top tier.
Absolutely. I mean, we've said everything and thrown superlatives at Schnitzel. He's been an absolute class act all the way through, but we've definitely seen some great drives through the field. I mean, Casper in those last few races especially has really started coming into some good form. We've seen it during the season. I've been a big fan of his, having commentated on him in F2 as well, so he's definitely one to keep an eye on if he can keep that consistency up into next season. Speed Barry, as I said, just towards the end there, although he's not on the PS4 side of things now, he was definitely a very pleasant revelation through this season, with his pace being absolutely amazing. Sven Noller's looking pretty good, getting some good pace. Jim Roy just seems to struggling qualifying a bit, just getting invalidations, but then comes through the field on the alternative strategy. There's so many good drivers in this field. It could be absolutely anybody's if Schnitzel did decide to move to PC. We'll have to wait and see if that is to be the case or not. It would be a big shame for PS4, obviously, to lose such a great driver, but it would be completely understandable at the same time as well. But there is so many good drivers here. There's a lot of talent on this grid, and it'll be absolutely fantastic to see. I would love to see this grid back again next season. I really, really would.
Yes, and I will certainly be an interested spectator this time, as I will not be the league commentator anymore. So mixed feelings about that, but I will certainly wish my replacement, whether that could be Andy, he could be the man. I would certainly back him to the hill if that were the case. But whoever it is, I'm sure they will do a fantastic job. So we're going to just switch to the ready for interview box, because we are waiting for the top three to get in there. And I'll send the invite out again, just in case it's a different sort of box. Yep, looks like it may be. Yeah, we'll do that. Yes, I mean, just to back up your points. So let's just talk about some sort of best moments of the season. So I think personally, best race of the season for me, I would say, despite the great trilogy of races we saw in the Americas, I would still just about pip the French Grand Prix of season 18 to be the race of the season, because it was, a freeway fight for the lead. It was just an astonishing battle there, where Tyrrell Schnitzel was really pushed to the limit by Blizzard, and Speedbar picked up his first top tier win there.
Yeah, absolutely. I have to agree with you on that one. France was just an absolute barnstormer of a race. I mean, I'm actually just going back at the moment just to see, there was, apart from penalties, there was about a second separating the top three when they crossed the line, and between Speed Barry, Schnitzel and Blizzard, we got an absolutely phenomenal race as well. So really, really good stuff. I would certainly say that would be my pick as well. Those American races, as you say, those are really, really good. We've had some great action in there as well. Monaco, a lot of people are probably going to shoot me here a little bit, but in a weird way, for two things. One, we've seen Casper coming through the field with some great overtakes, and I would say possibly even overtake of the season round the outside of Massenet as well from the Dutchman. But Schnitzel's absolute domination in that race, he was over a minute ahead of any. It just showed exactly how far ahead he is and how quick he is in this car. It was absolutely unbelievable. And Germany was a really good race as well. I remember a lot of stuff there, Schnitzel having to come through from what I think was 13th on the grid. So we had plenty of good action through the season. There was that race in Silverstone with the tricky weather conditions that I missed due to some of my health issues that I've had. But I remember seeing that and watched it back, and it was an incredible race as well. So we've been truly, to use Lewis Hamilton's wording, we've been truly blessed in some way with some fantastic action through the season. And I really hope to see that into season 19 as well.
Yes, and now we're just going to get some post-race footage that we saw earlier, and we're going to get some donuts from some of the drivers on the grid as we see Tyrrell Schnitzel having some fun here at Abu Dhabi, celebrating his second championship, and lots of time penalties being won there. Tyrrell Schnitzel, he deserves this moment to celebrate a little bit. Drivers having plenty of fun out there. Prenez there, look at all these donuts, it is spectacular. They don't need the cards anymore. It's a bit of casual fun after a long, hard season. And well, Tyrrell Schnitzel, he'll be starting in 6th position at least if he does the next round. I don't think the stewards will take too kindly for that. Of course, I am joking. We don't take it that seriously here at AOR. More donuts here, the crowd really enjoying that. And this is what you, at the end of a hard season, Andy, this is what you want to do. A little bit of fun just to before heading off into the proverbial sunset.
Yeah, absolutely. You can rev the car to hit anything you want. You can throw it about. Heck, we might even allow a few collisions. Why not? Alvaro Anza just throwing it into his teammate as well, and Reyes. There you go, just to show you exactly what I'm talking about. But yeah, it's a chance for him to blow off a bit of steam and to really just let their hair down, so to speak. It's 21 races, even if it is just, some people go, oh, it's just a game, it's just this, it's just that. It's still putting the time aside. You're still putting the effort into perfecting a setup, a race strategy, your pace, if you want to be in, especially at this level. So, it's a lot of effort goes in from these guys, and they're in the top tier for a reason. So it's a chance to just let the hair down and have a bit of fun. Why not? We do have one person joined us in the interview box, so we might as well unmute his mic and have a wee word with him, see what he thought of his season. Our Dutch friend Casper has joined us in the interview box. He's decided not to go out. He is out on track somewhere at the moment as well. Where is he? I can see him out there. Yeah, he's in the middle of the back straight. So we'll have a quick chat with Casper. Casper, hopefully you hear me. Good race there, finished in second. Looked like you were going to maybe drop down the field a wee bit after your second pit stop, but a fantastic finish to the season for you. You must be chuffed with how your season's finished, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I ended it on a pretty good way with second place. Was hoping to maybe get a win, but yeah, when Dominic, when you get out of DRS and Dominic, he would just pull away. So no chance.
No, absolutely not. But I'd say it's been a great finish to this. We've known you to have this pace, and you just start to more and more just pull the consistency into it. My two questions I would put to you here would be, number one, apart from the win, because I know that's your obvious go-to, what was your best moment of the season, and where do you think you could be in season 19?
Yeah, definitely. In Baku, where I got P2, I think the pace was pretty good on that track, so was very happy with that podium. Then definitely the win in USA. It took me so long to finally win a race, but I'm just glad I managed to do it this season. And today the pace was great as well, so I'm just happy with the improvements I've made this season in general.
Definitely, I've got to agree with you on that. And what about your goals for season 19? I'm sure you're planning on sticking around into next season. You've done a great job in being one of the coordinators for the league as well, which we've got to say a big thank you to that as well, because without the likes of yourself and Alex and others, the leagues just wouldn't, they wouldn't run. So staying in season 19, I'm sure you're still going to be around. What's your plans? What's your hopes?
Yeah, I just hope to be as consistent as I am now, basically, and we'll just see. I mean, I would obviously love to win the championship, but that's going to be really difficult with so many great drivers here. So we'll just see. I'm just going to try to get the runner-up position again, maybe, but we'll see.
Try your best. We'll let you enjoy the rest of your time out on the track. The car about
Yeah, we're gonna watch Tiras.
having a quick chat with us.
Yes. Well, thank you very much, Casper, Tactician, Alex, for superbly running the league. As always, Tiras Nitzel has finally wrecked his car completely, and I think we will end this shortly. So, yes, amazing. Look at that. Season 18 complete. We started way back in August with the Australian Grand Prix, and we've seen some brilliant action throughout the season. But now, in February of a new decade, we have completed all the action, and it is the final bow for me as the lead commentator of AOR F1. Hopefully, you'll see me again on a broadcast on an irregular basis, and I'm looking forward to doing my new role within AOR. But yeah, a big thank you to you, Andy, over the past, well, I'd say, season and a half or so. It's been an absolute pleasure working with you, my friend.
No, it's been an absolute joy as well. Thank you very much. Also as well for keeping a hold of the fort when I had a few health issues. Much appreciated. You've done a great job. You're going to be a miss in terms of entry box, but I'm looking forward to seeing what you do in terms of your new role that we've been talking about moving forward. So I hope to be here next season. We'll need to wait and obviously the moderators and the cods and all of that decide, but I certainly plan on being here again.
Yes, absolutely. Well, we're going to end it here on this note. The show must go on, and although I am leaving the commentary position, I'm sure season 19 will be a spectacular season of Apex Online Racing. Thanks for watching, and goodbye from Mark Alimonda and Andy Campbell, and we will see you all in season 19.